At the start of the season 24-25, Inoaneri was the name only hardcore Arsenal fans whispered about. But now, after Bukayo Saka's long injury, the 17-year-old had to step up, and from the short cameos, he became a regular starter in high-stake Premier League clashes. Inoaneri has become a key part of Mikel Arteta's system, showing ice-cold composure far beyond his age. Sadly, after Bukayo Saka's return, he once again became a rotation player, and competing with Saka won't be an easy task. While Inoaneri is still trying to establish himself in Arsenal's starting lineup, there are others who already became key figures for their teams. This season, a wave of new names have exploded onto the big stage. Players who went from unknown or overlooked to genuine game changers. Some were teenage prodigies who finally unleashed. Others grabbed their moment when opportunity knocked. Opening with Raul Asensio at the start of the season 24-25, Raul Asensio was not even close to Real Madrid's first team, a 21-year-old Castilla defender completely outside of Ancelotti's plans. At that age, being ignored in Madrid usually means that your future lies elsewhere. But everything changed when at the start of the season, Madrid's defense was hit with a wave of injuries. Militao, Alaba, even Carvajal. Everyone got a long injury. Suddenly there was no other option, and Asensio got his chance, and he grabbed his chance with everything he could. His La Liga debut against Osasuna was a statement. He assisted Bellingham with a perfect pass, kept a clean sheet, and played with the confidence of someone extremely promising. And then came the real test. Manchester City, Asensio thrown into the battle against Erling Haaland. A nightmare matchup for an inexperienced defender, but he held his ground. A nightmare matchup for an inexperienced defender, but he held his ground, winning 100% of his duels without committing a single foul. That night Asensio showed the world that he could handle Europe's very best. After the City match, Carrasco showed the world that he could handle Europe's very best, and tearing up slightly, overcame by emotions. Later in an interview, he revealed that he spent years hearing that he was tearing up slightly, overcame by emotions, not good enough. And tonight was not just proving them wrong, it was proving him right. And this honesty turned his story into a powerful reminder of resilience. And what truly sets him apart is his mentality and passion. He approaches every match like it's a final. In El Clasico matches, he has already shown his fierce rivalry spirit, clashing with Gavi and other Barcelona players. Fierce rivalry spirit, clashing with Gavi and other Barcelona players. Fans really love that kind of passion, especially Madridistas who grew up watching a legend like Sergio Ramos. And he even sounds like Ramos. In a post-match interview, he revealed that it's an honor to be compared to him, but he will try to make his own story. Raul sounds like Ramos. In a post-match Asensio, from unknown to key player. And technically, he is not bad either. With 93.6% pass accuracy and over 50 passes per game, he is La Liga's most reliable 3.6% pass accuracy and over 50 passes per game ball-playing defender, along with Pau Cubarsí. And of course, he is not flawless. His positioning and decision-making still need improvement. Playing alongside a Rolls-Royce defender like Rudiger still need improvement. Playing alongside a Rolls-Royce defender like Rudiger certainly helps. And with a new center-back joining Real Madrid soon, Asensio might have to fight for his place once again, but after everything he's shown this season, there is no doubt that he is ready for it. 7th place again, but after everything he's shown this season, there is Amad Diallo, from forgotten talent to Manchester United's breakout star. After the years of loan and uncertainty, expectations were low, but right from the start of the campaign, 22 years old exploded onto the scene. He started slowly. First, he was just a rotation option, but by November, he simply became undroppable. One of his standout games, after which he became a key player, was against Everton, where he delivered an exceptional performance and earned 9 out of 10 match rating. And then came December. In a tense derby against Manchester City, United were losing till the last minutes. Diallo won a crucial penalties at Bruno's court, and in it this time, he scored the winner himself. And that moment changed everything. And soon after in January, while facing Southampton, Diallo scored a blistering head trick. United's first since 2022, and it was in just 12 minutes. And on top of crucial goals, tactically Diallo's been a very flexible player, operating as a right winger and even occasionally playing as a wingback. And no matter the role, his style stays electric. He's cutting inside, gliding past defenders, and creating chaos. He tracks back, presses aggressively, and according to Opta, he ranks among the top in counter-press. He tracks back, presses aggressively, and actions for 90 minutes for Manchester United. Along with his defensive actions, he is consistently on the score sheet. In the Premier League alone, he had 7 goals and 7 assists. And in all competitions, he has 10 goals and 9 assists. Unfortunately, in February, an ankle injury sidelined him for over 2 months. Sure, it stalled his momentum, but not the impression he left. In February, that setback was one of United's best players, and statistically, he was their second best in goal creation actions, of course after Bruno Fernandes. And now it's up to him to build this breakthrough, to replicate his level, keep a wall wing, and prove that he can consistently be a game changer, and show us that he is not just a one-season wonder. At number 6, we have Matteo Retegui. When Atlanta shelled out nearly €21 million for Retegui in summer 2024, the move raised the eyebrows. Sure, he's managed 7 goals and 2 assists in Genoa, but €21 million for a 26-year-old player who is still finding his feet felt like a massive gamble. But Gasperini knew exactly this in Genoa, what he was doing. Under him, Atlanta thrived on chaos and relentless attacking football. Sure, it stalled his momentum, but not the impression he left. Before that setback, was one of United's best players, and statistically he was their second best in goal creation actions, of course after Bruno Fernandes. And now it's up to him to build this breakthrough, to replicate his level, keep a wall wing, and prove that he can consistently be Fernandes. And now it's up game changer, and show us that he is not just a one-season wonder. At number 6, we have Matteo Retegui. When Atlanta shelled out nearly €21 million for Retegui in summer 2024, the move raised the eyebrows. Sure, he's managed €21 million, 7 goals and 2 assists in Genoa, but €21 million for a 26-year-old player who is still finding his feet felt like a massive gamble. But Gasperini knew exactly what he was doing. Under him, Atlanta thrived on chaos and felt like a massive gamble. But Gasperini's attacking football. Amad Diallo, the rise of a game changer. His 341 formation demands forwards to make sharp, attacking, intelligent runs, and it suddenly appeared that Redeguy fits that blueprint perfectly. At Genoa, he'd often be stranded up front, feeding off scraps, but at Atlanta, it was different. Wingbacks and attacking midfielders constantly surged forward, pulling defenders out of position and giving Redeguy space to exploit. And he adapted instantly. He did not waste any time making his mark, begging to goals on his debut against Lecce. But that was just a warm-up against his former club Genoa. Retegui exploded with a head trick and an assist in a stunning display, and he did not celebrate those goals. You could see it in his eyes, the bittersweet feeling, grateful for his past, but driven by the need to prove himself. And after the match, Retegui revealed emotionally in an interview that scoring against his former club, Genoa, really hurt. But he needed that moment to show everyone who doubted him that he belonged at this level. And then came his incredible 4-goal showcase against Verona, where he earned the perfect 10 rating. That match became a pure striker instinct, incredible 4-goal showcase in action. And what's even more fascinating is that Retegui contributed in a link-up play as well. His assists often came from deeper positions, showcasing his vision and passing ability, exactly the kind of versatility that Gasperini demands from his strikers. And now, with 25 goals and 7 assists, he's not just Atlanta's leading scorer. He is responsible for over a third of their total goals. And that achievement gave him praise from Italian media, stating that he is a complete Serie A striker they have all been waiting for. 5th spot is for Morgan Rogers. Back in early 2024, Rogers was still viewed as solid championship talent. Promising, absolutely, but still not ready for Premier League level. When he joined Aston Villa in February, he was still seen as a project, a rotation piece that still needed to adjust to the pace of top-flight football. Emery was still figuring him out, but not long after his arrival, Rodgers was finally given a freedom that he needed. Under Emery's guidance, he became the revelation of Villa's high-flying campaign. Across all competitions, he delivered 14 goals and 15 assists in over 50 matches, including 8+11 in Premier League and 4+3 in the Champions League. Despite being 1.87 meters high, Rodgers is smooth as silk on the ball. He combines physical power with elegance. He glides past defenders like they are not even there, averaging nearly 4 dribbles per game with 50% success rate, putting him in the top 5% across the EU. Fifth spot is for Morgan Rodgers. Back in early 2024, Rodgers was still viewed as solid championship talent. Promising, absolutely, but still not ready for a Premier League level. When he joined Aston Villa in February, he was still seen as a project, a rotation piece that still needed to adjust to the pace of top-flight football. When he joined, Emery was still figuring him out, but not long after his arrival, Rodgers was finally given a freedom that he needed. Under Emery's guidance, he became the revelation of Villa's high-flying campaign. Across all competitions, he delivered 14 goals and Emery's guidance. He 15 assists in over 50 matches, including 8+11 in Premier League and 4+3 in the Champions League. Despite being 1.87 meters high, Rodgers is smooth as silk on the ball. He combines physical Champions League power with elegance. He glides past defenders like they are not even there, averaging nearly 4 dribbles per game with 50% success rate, putting him in the top 5% across the EU. Matteo Retegui, a new star in Serie A. In January, he scored a hat-trick in the magical night against Celtic in the Champions League group stage, with 2 goals in under 3 minutes. He scored a hat-trick in the magical night. And here's a fan fact. You all know Cole Palmer's iconic cold celebration, right? Well, that was not originally his. Palmer actually admitted that he borrowed it from Morgan Rodgers, and Rodgers pulled it out against that night. Palmer actually admitted that he borrowed it from Morgan Rodgers against Celtic. That performance made Morgan Rodgers the second youngest English player ever to score Champions League hat-trick. And you know who is first? Legendary Wayne Rooney. And if even that was not convincing enough, April turned out to be his month of glory. 5 goal contributions in 1 month, helping Aston Villa secure. April turned out to be his month of glory. 5 crucial win over Brighton, Newcastle, and Nottingham Forest. And he was shortlisted for the Premier League Player of the Month as well. And also earlier in November, Rodgers finally made his debut in England's national team and is featured in every nation. Earlier in November, Rodgers finally made his debut in League and World Cup qualifiers ever since. 4th place is for Miles Lewis-Kelly. At the start of the season, Arsenal's left-back depth was ridiculous. Calafier, Zinchenko, Tierney, even Timber could play there. But guess who came out? Arsenal's left-back on the top? An 18-year-old player from Arsenal's academy. And he literally spawned out of nowhere. First time he caught everyone's eye was his fiery debut in September, away at the Etihad against Manchester City, a teenager starting against one of the toughest opponents in Europe. From the September, away at the Etihad, first whistle he looked fearless, aggressive, and passionate. He even managed to clash with Erling Haaland and a Norwegian who obviously have never seen him before asked him, "Who the hell are you?" And Skelly did not back down. He took Z Wards as a fuel, and at that moment we have never seen him before. Wards became a symbol of his entire rise. Arteta kept giving him minutes, and Skelly just kept delivering. What started as an injury cover quickly turned into something bigger. He is press-resistant like a seasoned midfielder, sharp in duels, and tactically well beyond his cover quickly turned into something age. Arteta used him as an inverted fullback, drifting into midfield to control play. Think about an old Zinchenko, but with way more aggression. And you got Luis Skelly. And then came his most memorable moment, the second game against Manchester City, but now at the Emirates. Arsenal smashed City 5-1, and Skelly won 8 out of 9 duels, passed with 92% accuracy rate, and even managed to score his first goal. And he also used the Highlands Peace celebration. The revenge was served cold and very publicly. And just when you thought that was his peak, then the march came. And with March came the England's debut. And what does he do? He scores once again. Youngest debut goal scorer in England's national team history. But of course he is not flawless. This is still his first full youngest debut goal scorer in England's season, and he is learning. He already received 2 red cards in the Premier League, and one of those games ended with Arsenal's loss. Sharp in duels and tactically well beyond his age. Arteta used him as an inverted fullback, drifting into midfield to control play. Think about an old Zinchenko, but with way more aggression. And you got Louis Skelly. And then came his most memorable moment, the second game against Manchester City, but now at the Emirates. Arsenal smashed City 5-1, and Skelly won 8 out of 9 duels. Passed with 92% accuracy rate, and even managed to score his first goal. And he also used the Highlands peace celebration. The revenge was served cold and very publicly. And just when you thought that was his peak, then the March came. And with March came the England's debut. And what does he do? He scores once again. Youngest debut goal scorer in England's national team history. But of course he is not flawless. This is still his first full season, and he is learning. He already received 2 red cards in the Premier League, and one of those games ended with Arsenal's loss. Morgan Rogers, Aston Villa's revelation. But these are the growing pains, not red flags, but just a reminder that he is still only 18 years old. Podium is opened with Dean Hoyson, from Juventus benchwarmer to Bournemouth star to Spain's international, and now even to Real Madrid signing. And all of that in just one season. When Bournemouth quietly signed him for $15 million last summer, it felt like a solid deal, but nothing more. But soon after came the twist. An early season injury of Marcos Tennesai opened the spot, and Hoyson took the full advantage. Already by November, he was a regular player, and by spring, he was literally undroppable. He was calm on the ball, dominant in the air, and way mature. Already by November, he was beyond his 20 years. Around the dressing room, they called him the chill guy, and what a season he has. He started 30 league games, scored 3 goals, helped Bournemouth keep 8 clean sheets, and led the team in clearances with 6 per every match. Bournemouth fans went from not knowing his name to watching him lead their backline. In December, he scored a towering header to win a match against Force, which became his first senior goal. And then January, another one, away at Old Trafford in a stunning 3-0 win. Both times he celebrated. In January, another one, away at Old Trafford with his now viral smirking dog pose, and it was trending all over social media in entire Premier League. And then came his international chapter. Born in Netherlands but raised in Spain, Hoyson made his choice in March, presenting La Roja. And his debut match was exactly against Netherlands. And in the second one, he even used in Spanish to grab an assist, helping Spain lift the Nations League. And by the end of the season, he rightfully deserved his transfer, managed to grab an assist, helping Spain lift to Real Madrid. He had one of the biggest jumps in the value we have seen this year. And you know what the next question is, after exploding in Premier League, if he is able to do it on the biggest stage of fall? What do you think? Silver goes to João Neves, the Premier League. If he is able to do a diamond who did not just polish his game, he turned into a pure midfield gold. Let's be honest, in Portugal, João Neves was already a known name. He's been pulling strings at Benfica for nearly 2 seasons. But for the wider football world, his name only truly exploded with that blockbuster €60 million move to PSG. Now picture this, you're 19 years old, stepping into one of the most attacking teams in Europe. And his chemistry with Ilya Zabarny formed now the youngest yet most stable center-back duos in entire Premier League. And then came his international chapter. Born in Netherlands but raised in Spain, Hoyson made his choice in March, presenting La Roja. And his debut match was exactly against Netherlands. And in the second one, he even managed to grab an assist, helping Spain lift the Nations League. And by the end of the season, he rightfully deserved his transfer to Real Madrid. He had one of the biggest jumps in the value we have seen this year. And you know what the next question is, after exploding in the Premier League, if he is able to do it on the biggest stage of fall? What do you think? Silver goes to João Neves, the Benfica diamond who did not just polish his game. He turned into a pure midfield gold. Let's be honest, in Portugal, João Neves was already a known name. He's been pulling strings at Benfica for nearly 2 seasons. But for the wider football world, his name only truly exploded with that blockbuster €60 million move to PSG. Now picture this, you're 19 years old, stepping into one of the most attacking teams in Europe. Miles Lewis Kelly, Arsenal's young defender. You have got 4 wingers flying forward, fullbacks overlapping, and creative midfielders like Vitinha, Fabian Ruiz, and Warren Zaire-Emery breathing down your neck. And your job? Busy anchor. Most players would have drawn under the pressure, but not Joao. Week in, week out, he looked like a player with a decade of Champions League football under his belt. But what fans really fell in love with is Joao Neves' humility. After his standout game against Bayern Munich, he quietly dedicated his performance to his family back in Portugal. "They believed in me when no one else did," he said softly and visibly moved. It's exactly the moments like this that turn him from tactical piece into a player PSG fans genuinely cherish. Alongside his humility and composure are his defensive instincts, fans genuinely cherish. Alongside his humility and composure needed, he transforms into a relentless hunter, closing spaces, swarming opponents, and forcing turnovers as if it's person. He has 3.3 tackles per game, 1 interception, and even 1 aerial duel won, despite being just 1.74 in height. And his pressing is pure elite. And alongside all these traits, he is good on the ball as well. Over 67 passes per game with elite. And alongside all these traits, he's 92.2% completion rate. And he is not just passing sideways like most CDMs do. This guy racked up 9 assists in this season. And from a defensive midfielder, that number is pretty good. He adapts perfectly to my idea of the game, his style of play, his physical strength, his intelligence, and his relationship with teammates, and his most important characteristic. He does not lose the ball at all. That's Luis Enrique's words of praise in his relationship with teammates and his most praise towards Joao Neves. And when a manager like Luis Enrique, whose entire philosophy revolves around the ball control, praises you like that, it tells you everything. And at the very top, from one PSG star to another, just like in the previous video, it's Desire, 19 years old and already one of the most electrifying young talents in entire Europe. From the very first match you watch him, you feel it. He had everything that fans love in football. Doha has that rare magic, smooth two-footed dribbling, blistering acceleration, you feel it, and the swagger to take on anyone. From left wing to right wing to central as a number 10, even falls 9. He can do it all. And the crazy part is that he makes it look very easy. Some fans are already comparing him to young Neymar. And considering the technical level that Neymar had, that's not a light comparison. Everything started with a bold move to the tucked PSG squad. €50 million might sound huge, but for PSG, that's just a bag of money. They already benched €95 million Colomboani. They rotated €65 million Gonzalo Ramos. And the wingers? And at the very top, from one PSG star to another, just like in the previous video, it's Desire, 19 years old and already one of the most electrifying young talents in entire Europe. From the very first match you watch him, you feel it. He had everything that fans love in football. Doha has that rare magic, smooth two-footed dribbling, blistering acceleration, and the swagger to take on anyone. From left wing to right wing to central as a number 10, even falls 9. He can do it all. And the crazy part is that he makes it look very easy. Some fans are already comparing him to young Neymar. And considering the technical level that Neymar had, that's not a light comparison. Everything started with a bold move to the tucked PSG squad. €50 million might sound huge, but for PSG, that's just a bag of money. They already benched €95 million Colomboani. But for PSG, they rotated €65 million Gonzalo Ramos. And the wingers? Dean Huijsen, from benchwarmer to star. Barkala, Dembele, Kenjin Lee, and in January, even Huixiko Exilia. If you ask the fans in August who were the guaranteed starters, Dembele and Barkala were the obvious picks. Fast forward to now, and it's Dewey who's taken Barkala's spot, and he definitely earned it. In League One alone, he's got 6 goals and 8 assists in 31 matches. He's leading all the Europe's top 5 leagues. League 1 alone, he's got 6 goals and 8 assists in open play chance creations per 90 minutes. That's the elite creativity at such a young age. And across all competitions, 13 plus 13, 20 at a young age. And across all competitions, 13 plus 13 out of those coming in just this calendar year. And the only player born after 2005 with more goals and assists is Barcelona's Lamine Yamal. And also he's doing it in the big moments. At Champions League night, in part, is Barcelona's Lamine Yamal. And also he's doing it in the big moments. The Princes when PSG faced Aston Villa. Doué's opened the score sheet with a rocket goal. That goal sets it on. The Princes when PSG faced Aston Villa and gave PSG a crucial edge heading into the second leg. And that's what makes him so special. In today's football, where wingers are often robotic, predictable, and stuck in the same tactical roles, Doué feels different. He breaks the mold. He brings joy back to the game. He is spontaneous, creative, unafraid. Désiré Doué is not just a breakout star. He is a reminder of why we fell in love with football in the first place. João Neves, Benfica's midfield maestro. What a great selection of players. Football in the first place. João Neves, from fearless defenders to electric wingers. These are players who showed their potential and also delivered. Week in, week out, they made season 24 to 25 unforgettable. Which breakout star impressed you most? The rise of Lamine Yamal. Just a year ago, Lamine Yamal lit up 2024 Euros, a teenager playing like a superstar, sliding through defenders and showing maturity far beyond his age. It was his global playing like a superstar, sliding through defenders announcement, and the expectations were sky high. But somehow this season he's managed to exceed them. From rising talent to Ballon d'Or contender, Yamal has gone from promise to pure dominance, and we might be witnessing the start of something legendary. But here is the thing, contender. Yamal's rise was expected. We all saw it coming. However, players on this list, we already knew them too. We have seen flashes of their talent before, but no one expected this level. Some of them became leaders, others turned into game changers, but all of them made a leap that few saw coming. And now they are playing the best football of their careers. So let's look at them, starting with a player who went from a bench warmer to Anfield's anchor, Ryan Gravenberch. Now, let's be honest, nobody had Gravenberch on their breakout list back in August 2024. In fact, most of Liverpool fans were not even sure if he had future at this club. He was just coming off a frustrating first season, barely any starts, some flashes of brilliance, but zero consistency. And let's face the fact that Klopp could not unlock him. Who else even could? The answer was Arne Slot. From the moment he walked through the doors of Anfield, Slot saw something that others could not. Instead of pushing Dutchman forward, he dropped him even deeper. A player known for attacking runs was suddenly handed the keys to the number 6 role. And like a miracle, it worked straight away. From day one, Gravenberch started bossing the games. Smooth, under pressure, impossible to dispossess, and shockingly solid defensively. His positioning was on the point, his work rate was through the roofs, and the way he was winning the ball and instantly launching counterattacks became his trademark. By May 2025, he already played 47 games. And these are not just cameos, these are full games. That's over 4,000 minutes across this campaign. And what's even more impressive is that no Liverpool midfielder has done it since 2016. And along with his playing time, his other statistical numbers are impressive as well. He had 57 interceptions, more than any midfielder in the Premier League, 89% pass accuracy, and over 2 tackles and 2 interceptions every game. One of his standout defensive games came in the Champions League on San Siro against AC Milan. One of his standout defensive games, Ryan put the monster shift, recording 10 possession recoveries and 7 interceptions. That's the most by Liverpool. Ryan put the monster shift midfielders in Europe since Mascherano. Just think about that. In just one season, he went from forgotten benchwarmer to the anchor of Premier League winning midfield. Ryan Gravenberch's transformation at Liverpool. And by the end of the campaign, he was talked as one of, if not the best defensive midfielder in entire Premier League. The 7th spot goes for a player whose journey looks like a Hollywood comeback. One of, if not the best defensive, Sandro Tonali. From being one of Serie A's top midfielders to facing a career-threatening suspension for betting violations to now dominating again, but this time in the Premier League. Last August, Tonali returns to St. James Park with everything to prove after a 10-dominating again month absence. Fans were doubting his comeback. Could he regain the form and justify Newcastle's massive £58.9 million investment? Initially, Eddie Howe carefully eats Tonali back into action, with cautious minutes against Nottingham Forest in the League Cup. Sure, flesh of brilliance appeared, but it looked like rust remained, leaving the fans uncertain and hoping for the best. But then everything changed in the late November. Eddie Howe repositioned Tonali deeper in the midfield, alongside Bruno Guimaraes and Joel Linton, and instantly his precise passing, his tactical awareness, and defensive grit reshaped Newcastle's midfield entirely. Instantly, Tonali exploded into the form in December. In a 4-0 win against Leicester City, he was the best player on the pitch, winning 8 duels. He exploded into the form, making 3 interceptions and boasting 91% accuracy rate. And he quickly became one of Premier League's standout midfielders. However, his biggest moment was yet to come. Tonali was crucial as Newcastle ended their 70-year trophy draw, winning the Carabao Cup, however, against Liverpool at Wembley, even before they reached the final. Tonali was unstoppable in the earlier rounds, where he scored twice in a 3-1 win, completing 56 out of 60 passes and winning most tackles and duels on the pitch, earning the highest 8.5 rating in the game against Brentford, completing 56 out of 60. And funnily enough, Brentford suffered again later, as Tonali stunned them with an unbelievable goal from an impossible angle. After the game, when Tonali was asked if it was deliberate strike, Tonali modestly laughed it off, calling the goal 70% cross and 30% shot. By the end of spring, that was deliberate. Tonali's redemption arc was complete. His vital goal against Chelsea secured Champions League football for Newcastle and earned him an Italy recall, a symbolic moment of triumph, and another, and maybe the last chance for Tonali to play the elite-level football, which he was always capable of. Number 6 on our list is the engine of Barcelona, Pedri Gonzalez. After the years of injuries and headaches, the hype around Pedri was cooled. Going into 24-25 season, fans were unsure. Was he still the future of Barcelona's midfield? The talent going into 24-25 season was never the question, but the durability and influence, that's what people doubted. And then came Hansi Flick, new manager, new plan, and a total reset for Pedri. Flick did not just change tactics, he changed everything around Pedri's fitness, plan, and a total reset. Tonali's redemption arc. No more heavy gym lifting. Instead, short explosive sessions, sprint drills, and reaction training, all designed to protect those hamstrings. And most importantly, he kept Pedri playing. My body responds better when I have a rhythm. When I play constantly, not when I stop and restart. That's Pedri's words to the media in the interview. And that's the one thing that needed to switch for everything to suddenly click. He finally stayed fit all season, played more minutes than any Bar Summit film, and finally looked the best version of himself to suddenly click, or even maybe the best playmaker in the entire football world. Under Hansi Flick, Pedri's role changed completely. He became the engine of the team, covering over 11 kilometers per game in the Champions League matches, tripling his progressive carries compared to the last season, and also while his attacking influence grew. So did his defensive work rate. Beyond just controlling the tempo of the game, it now feels like every Barcelona attack starts with Pedri. And also he started to deliver in the big games. In the Copa del Rey final, in the tie against Real Madrid, he smashed a screamer into the top corner. Against Dortmund in the Champions League's second game, when Barcelona had problems, his second-half sub calmed the chaos and shifted the momentum. Even his teammates and rivals have noticed. Rafinha emphasized that if Federer is not on the pitch, something is missing in their game. And Toni Kroos, the rival team's legend, he Pedri as the best midfielder in the world in the current season. And by the end of it, the verdict was clear. If Pedri manages to stay fit, he is not just Barcelona's future. He is one of the best playmakers in the modern football world. But now the big question is, can he do it again in the next year? What do you think? Fifth place is Nuno Mendes, and what a comeback season it's been for him. At the start of season 24 to 25, expectations were more or less low. After missing nearly full season with a nasty hamstring injury and playing just 14 games last season, many wondered if Mendes would ever get to his explosive best. 14 games last season. Many wondered if Mendes would ever get to his PSG fans doubted his durability and also tactics were messy, especially post. PSG fans doubted his durability and also tactics were messy buffer period, and the squad felt unbalanced. Which sounds hilarious given the trajectory that PSG went after January. But at the start of the season, things looked uncertain. But from the moment the season kicked off, Mendes started shutting up everyone with performances. Under Luis Enrique, he's already played 40-plus appearances across all competitions, his performances. Under Luis Enrique, he's already played more than double last year, and he's done it on the elite level consistency, especially in the Champions League, where Mendes was nothing short of the world class. Pedri Gonzalez, the engine of Barcelona. His most standout game was of course PSG versus Liverpool, round of 16. And Mo Salah, the most informed player in the world at that time, PSG versus Liverpool, round of 16, lines up against Mendes. And guess what happened? Salah got locked down completely. Mendes not only neutralized him, he helped to set up PSG's opener goal by releasing Dembele down the left. And also don't forget his goal line clearance against. He helped to set up PSG's Salah, which had the direct effect on the final score. After the game, the team called Salah the known entity in this game, and Jamie Carragher mentioned that Mendes was brilliant and outstanding in both legs. And that was not one game thing. Mendes was spectacular the whole season. In Champions League alone, he had 4 goals and 1 assist, 2.5 successful dribbles per 90 minutes, an incredible 66% success, and 1 assist, 2.5 successful dribbles rate. Also defensively had 3 tackles and 1.5 interceptions per every game. And his decision-making also flourished. Mendes used to be raw, fast, flashy, but sometimes chaotic. But now he is refined, smarter, and more positionally aware. And the trust that PSG has in him was showed midway through the season when PSG gave him the new contract, a clear sign that they see him as a cornerstone of their future. And let's be honest that with performances like this, it's not even a debate anymore. Nuno Mendes is clearly back, and he might just be the best left back in the world football right now. The 4th spot is Cod McTominay. The same player who was a backup at Manchester United is now MVP of Serie A and the cult hero of Napoli. Last summer, McTominay made a late €25 million move to Napoli. Most people saw it as a deep signing, solid, hardworking, but not flashy. But Antonio Conte had other plans. Conte gave him a role no one expected. He gave him a freedom, no more sitting deep. McTominay was let loose at the box-to-box powerhouse, and in that role, he suddenly erupted. Just 25 seconds into one of his first matches against Como, he managed to score and powerhouse. And in that role, that goal was just the beginning. By the end of the season, he has 12 goals and 6 assists in Serie A, more than any Scottish player has ever scored in a single Serie A campaign. And these were big goals, match openers, match winners, clutch moments, and even season winners in a single Serie A campaign. And his peak performances came in April. 5 goals in 3 games, 2 versus Empoli, 1 against Monza, and a game-winning brace against Torino that sent Napoli back to the top of the table. All 3 matches were won thanks to him, and that was done in the crucial period of the season while fighting for Scudetto against her. After one of McTominay's performances, Antonio Conte, the man behind Napoli's resurgence and the coach who unlocked McTominay's full potential, did not hold back his praising words regarding Scott. Nuno Mendes' comeback season. He never had a leader role at Manchester United. Here we gave him one, and he's become a team's undisputed leader. And the fans are obsessed with him. One even tattooed his name and number 8. And after title-winning goals at McTominay's court, their love became even deeper. If Corsilia was the face of Napoli in 2023 title run, then in 2025, it's McTominay who stepped up, becoming the heartbeat of Napoli's push for their 4th Scudetto. Bronze spot on this list is for a player who's gone from Crystal Palace Flair merchant to Bayern Munich's breakout star, Michael Olise. At Palace, Olise already looked special. He was their creative heartbeat, and the big move felt deserved. But let's be honest, we have seen this story before. Mid-table star jumps to elite clubs and suddenly disappears. And with just story before. Mid-table star jumps to elite clubs and suddenly 19 appearances the season before, 50 million euros felt like a big gamble. Injury-prone, inconsistent. Was he really ready for a club like Bayern Munich? But it turned out brilliantly. From day one, Vincent Kompany did not ease him in. Olise started Bayern's Bundesliga opener game and immediately looked right at home. A month later, he was already flying, scoring in the league, grabbing a brace in the Champions League game against Dinamo Zagreb, and putting up 2 goals and 2 assists against Werder Bremen. That's 5 goals and 2 assists in just 7 days. But that was 2 goals and 2 assists against Werder Bremen. That's 5 goals and 2 assists, not just a short burst. Olise kept it going. Across all competitions, he's delivered 16 goals and 20 assists, including a Bundesliga best 17 assists. His goals and 20 assists, including a Bundesliga best 17 assists. Connection with Harry Kane became lethal. And the under Kompany is not just stuck on the wing. He floats, drifts inside, switches flanks, threads killer passes, and on top of that, he scores beautiful goals like that Champions League rocket against Celtic. And here's a big shift. For the first time in years, he finally stayed fit. He is the only Bayern player to feature in every single Bundesliga game. 27 starts and 6 off the bench. He leads all the German in big chances created, nearly doubling the next player. And he is one of the most fault players in the entire league. And that's the clear indication that nobody is able to stop him. His marquee matchup was against Mainz, where a 3-0 win sealed the title. In that game, he managed to contribute in all 3 goals, assisting 2 of them to the partners and also striking the final one. Internationally, he made his France senior debut in September, and then he scored an assist in the comeback win against Croatia in March, turning the 2-0 deficit into a 2-2 result and sending France to the National League semifinals. Bayern fans voted him Player of the Month twice, and even Thomas Müller praised him for his mentality and hunger. And this is the same player people said was not ready for the big stage. And now after this, Müller praised him for his mentality, and he is proving that he is clearly the elite level. Scott McTominay's breakout at Napoli. From one PSG comeback story to another. Runner-up on this list is Ousmane Dembele. For years, he was the football's biggest what-if. Blistering pace, unreal joy to a dribbling, but constant injuries and chaotic decision-making. Even by the end of 2024, PSG fans were still asking, is this all we are ever going to get from him? But then came 2025, and Dembele suddenly shifted into another gear. 33 goals in 46 games from him, but then came from inconsistent winger to a full-blown goal machine. So what changed? Let's start with Luis Enrique's tactical decisions. The PSG boss saw something others missed. He gave Dembele the freedom to drift inside and even play as a false 9. One rival coach reportedly called this move the idea of the century and did unlock something in Dembele. Adding Korasili Azarjiva at PSG and a new hyper-offensive setup, 3-4 wingers on the pitch, constantly feeding Dembele, and suddenly it became a perfect storm. But the real difference maker was the fact that he finally stayed healthy. No more stop-start momentum. For the first time in years, Dembele strung together months of consistent football, and with fitness came confidence alongside with goals. In the Champions League, he became PSG's decisive weapon. He finished ice cold at the Emirates 1-0 in the semi-finals and his solo winner at Anfield. Maybe not the prettiest goal, but he was the only one who could score against Alisson. Back in League One, Dembele's impact was just as noticeable. With Kylian Mbappe no longer at the club, there was a clear void to fill, and Dembele stepped into that responsibility. Performances against teams like Monaco and Marseille were the proof of his growing influence. Last year, Dembele was good. This year, he is simply better. These are Luis Enrique's words of praise towards the French attacker. And with France, he carried his club form onto the international stage, including a dramatic late winner against Croatia, which we mentioned before. Now, With the Liger Player of the Season award in his pocket and his name popping in the Balloon Door conversations, Dembele is finally living up to the hype that followed him for almost a decade. And you know what the next question is? Can he keep this up? Because if this version of Dembele sticks around, we will be witnessing the full-blown redemption arc. And finally securing the top spot is none other than Rafinha. Flashback to August 2024, Rafinha was packing his bags almost out of the door at Barcelona. Expectations were mixed at the very best. Fans were not sure he would stay, especially with Barcelona openly chasing replacements like Nico Williams. Rafinha himself admitted that he was conflicted, even thinking about ending his career. But then everything changed with just one phone call from the new boss Hansi Flick. Michael Ollah's stellar season at Bayern Munich. Flick clearly told Rafinha, "I'm counting on you," and that fact completely flipped his mindset. Out of nowhere, a player once anxious about getting subbed off under Xavi transferred into a confident leader. Flick even handed a captain's armband, trust that Rafinha always dreamed of having. Tactically, Flick unleashed Rafinha. Instead of staying glued to the right wing, he had the freedom to roam, often cutting inside from the left. This setup showcased his little left foot, turning him into a goal-scoring machine and an assist provider. Flick called him a tireless warrior who pressed defenders nonstop, which perfectly suited to Barca's high-pressing style. Rafinha's new confidence sparked immediate results, becoming a true big-game player. His signature performance came in El Clasico, scoring twice in an intense 4-3 win over Real Madrid, including a decisive goal created entirely from his tireless pressing. Another highlight was his heroic performance against Celta Vigo, where his 2 assists and a crucial goal completed an incredible 4-3 comeback. In the Champions League, Rafinha was simply phenomenal, tiling an astonishing 13 goals and 8 assists, matching Cristiano Ronaldo's record for most goal involvements in a single Champions League campaign. His dominance included destruction of Bayern Munich, a dramatic winner against Benfica in a 5-4 thriller, a crucial late goal against Inter, which was sadly not enough for the team to reach the final. And also his Supercopa final against Real Madrid that was equally brilliant, earning the MVP with 2 goals and enough for the team to 1 assist in a dominant 5-2 victory. Even when not scoring, his impact remained massive. Notably in a Copa del Rey final against Man Madrid, where his explosive attacks and pressing secured Barca a thrilling 3-2 extra time win. With such a great season, now at 28, Rafinha is at his peak. He went from transfer list to a Ballon d'Or shortlist in 6 months. And whether he wins it or not, one thing is clear. This season has introduced football to a new elite superstar. Just a couple seasons ago, Ronaldo Araujo felt untouchable, Barcelona's captain, Xavi's rock at the back, and the guy you build your defense around. But fast forward to this season, and he is now on the bench, outplayed by teenager Paco Barci and a veteran Inigo Martinez. Rumors of his transfer are still swirling, from one of the best center backs in the world to fighting just to stay relevant, Inigo Martinez. And he is not the only one. This 24-25 season has been robbed for some big names. Players we thought were about to hit their peak have totally lost the momentum. And others who used to be world-class just don't look the same anymore. Now that season is about to end, it's clear that some players straight up flopped, and others, while their numbers might look okay compared to what we expected, they have been a letdown. Hitting things off with Alejandro Garnacho. If you watched United last season, you could not miss him. Garnacho was electric, scoring an FA Cup final, pulling off an insane bicycle kick against Everton, and finishing the year as the Premier League's only teenager with double-digit goal contributions. He looked like next big star at Old Trafford, but this season has been a massive step backwards. Here is the reality. Across all competitions in season 24-25, Garnacho has scored 10 goals and assisted 9 times. Not awful, you would say, until you realize that just 5 goals came from 33 Premier League appearances. That's 89 shots with just 5.6% conversion rate. And on turns, that's 89 shots with just 5.6% conversion rate. On top of that, he's also missed 13 big chances. And that wakefulness has been hard to ignore. And it's not just stats, the eye test backs it up as well. His top of that, he's all body language is frustrated. He loses possession constantly. In the Premier League, he attempted about 2 to 3 dribbles per game, with just 33% success. In the league, he attempted about 2 to 3 dribbles per game, with just success rate. That's clearly not what Manchester United fans expected from him at the start of the season. Then came the off-pitch drama. Garnacho was dropped from at the start of the season. Then came the off-pitch drama. Garnacho was dropped from Manchester Derby in December after a reported training ground clash with new manager Ruben Amorim. Since then, it's clear that he's fallen down the pecking order. Tactically, he's also Amorim. Since then, it's clear that he's fallen down the pecking suffering. Amorim's 3-4-3 does not favor traditional wingers. Garnacho has been shifted into narrower roles with less space and freedom. Garnacho has been shifted into narrower roles with less space and freedom. The exact opposite of what suits him. Even Bruno Fernandes mentioned that Garnacho did not celebrate the rocket goal against Leicester simply because he felt like fans had turned on him. Pundits have criticized him as well. False calls did not hold back, saying that Garnacho is scruffy in his technique and makes poor decisions. But let's not overreact. Garnacho is still 20 years old. He's already made over 130 appearances for United, which is insane in his age. This season has clearly shaken his confidence, and the made over 130 appearances weight of expectations has not helped. Alejandro Garnacho struggles. There's no doubt that talent is there, but this year has been a reality check. A reminder that raw ability is not enough on its own. If he learns from this season, but this year has been a reality check. The Garnacho hype can absolutely come back stronger than ever in the upcoming years. Number 7 is Andrew Robertson. From one of Liverpool's most trusted warriors to a man battling to stay in the starting 11, Robertson's 24-25 campaign has been one of the biggest Liverpool's drop-offs of any Premier League fullbacks. And it started badly. He missed most of pre-season under new boss Arne Slot due to an ankle injury. Combine that with him turning 30 years old and the decline began. This last couple of games I have been on the bench. I have had doubt. Combine that with him turning 30 years old and for the first time in a long time. First time at this club. That's his words to the media after being subbed off at the halftime versus Arsenal. The pressure did not stop there. In January, Slots took him off mid-game again. Headlines were in shock. Liverpool's legend fighting for his place. A brutal reminder that football moves fast, even for loyal servants like Andrew Robertson. His average rating decreased from 7.43 to 6.8, which is a noticeable dip. It seems like Andrew Robertson. His average rating decreased from he lost his confidence. He's been shaky in defense, conceded penalties, misplaced passes, and his body language often looks uncertain. Even with Scotland, where he is still captain, the decline is visible. Yes, he scored in his body language late winner against Poland in the Nations League, but his overall rating also fell by half a point compared to the previous seasons. In short, Robertson has regressed across the board. Speed, productivity, the influence. Yes, he still brings leadership and experience, but Liverpool fans are starting to ask the tough question, is it time to find a successor? Andy Robertson will always be the club icon, but 24-25 season might be the year when we realize that he is no longer on elite level. At 6th spot, we have Vinicius Jr. Now, before you criticize, might be the year when we realize that this choice, let's be honest. Vinicius is not having a terrible season. In fact, most of Real Madrid's squad is underperforming right now, especially midfielders like Camavinga and Tchouaméni. But after finishing second in the Ballon d'Or ranking last year and boldly declaring, "I'll do it 10 times," they are not ready. Expectations for a win were sky high. And from that perspective, this season has been a major not ready. Expectations for a win were sky high. Down. His influence on matches has noticeably dipped. Defenders no longer panic when he runs at them. His dribble feels forced, his finishing rush and his body language is worrying. It's like the composed, dominant Winnie of feels forced, his finishing rush and his body last season has vanished, replaced by a raw version from a few years ago. So what went wrong? First, the injuries. A hamstring issue in September kept him out for nearly 6 weeks. Since then, he has the injuries. A hamstring issue in September cannot look the same. His trademark explosiveness is still there. Andrew Robertson's decline, but not quite exactly. Whether it's physical hesitation or mental fatigue, something is clearly off. Second is tactical chaos. With Kroos retiring, Madrid lost their control in midfield at Mbappe's league rival, and suddenly there's an overload on the left wing. Winnie, Mbappe, and even Bellingham, they all prefer starting from the same zone. There is no balance, no chemistry, and a lot of ego. Unlike the old days when Benzema played the connector role, both Winnie and Mbappe wants to be the main guy, and that's heavily hurting the flow. The third is mentality, which is slowly fading. He hesitates in key moments, misses chances he used to bury, and disappears in big games. Even with Brazil, he struggled to stand out in Copa America qualifiers and friendlies. And then there are penalties. 3 high-profile misses this season. One against Atletico Madrid in a crucial Champions League clash. One against Valencia, where Madrid went on to lose crucial points, and one for Brazil against Venezuela. A costly miss in a 1-1 draw. Add media pressure to crucial points, and one for everything what was already said. Spanish outlets are questioning his mindset. Rumors are spread that he is unhappy to Mbappe's role in the team. Some fans even wonder, has he already peaked? But let's not overreact. This does not feel like a collapse. It's more like a dip in the form during a messy tactical transition. Cole Palmer lands at number 5 of our rankings. After exploding onto the scene in the form during a season 23-24, Chelsea fans believe they had found their next superstar. However, this season, those high expectations have collided head-on with reality. Palmer's numbers have dipped. He managed just 15 goals and 9 assists in 34 Premier League appearances. Sounds not bad at all, but significantly below last year's brilliance. Even more worrying is his goal-scoring efficiency. Before his penalty against Liverpool, he had 13 games without even scoring. So what went wrong? Several key factors influenced this setback. First of all, Chelsea lost Nicholas Jackson for a key stretch for this year. Palmer thrived alongside Jackson, but without him, he often Chelsea lost Nicholas becomes isolated, heavily marked, and start-off quality opportunities. Experts have highlighted this drop-off too, stating that everything becomes isolated. Palmer tries to do, he is doing alone, and he desperately needs a focal point. Chelsea's manager Enzo Maresca pointed to psychological rather than tactical issues, stating that it's mental and he just needs his confidence back. On the pitch, Palmer's struggles are obvious. His open play tactical issues, goals have vanished. High-profile misses became alarmingly frequent. Palmer's numbers have dipped. He managed just 15 goals and 9 assists in 34 Premier League appearances. Sounds not bad at all, but significantly below last year's brilliance. Even more worrying is his goal-scoring efficiency. Before his penalty against Liverpool, he had 13 games without even scoring. So what went wrong? Several key factors influenced this setback. First of all, Chelsea lost Nicholas Jackson for a key stretch for this year. Palmer thrived alongside Jackson, but without him, he often becomes isolated, heavily marked, and start-off quality opportunities. Experts have highlighted this drop-off too, stating that everything Palmer tries to do, he is doing alone, and he desperately needs a focal point. Chelsea's manager Enzo Maresca pointed to psychological rather than tactical issues, stating it's mental and he just needs his confidence back. On the pitch, Palmer's struggles are obvious. His open play goals have vanished. High-profile misses became alarmingly frequent. Vinicius Jr.'s underperformance and Ghost Palmer sessions sadly became a familiar sight in big games. While Chelsea's inconsistent performances have not helped, it's concerning that Palmer has regressed even as the team overall improved compared in big games to the last season. Internationally, the story is similar. After shining brightly and scoring crucial goals at Euro 2024 to the last season, Palmer's role at England has significantly diminished. He has not contributed in any Nations League matches in 2025, mirroring his slump at the club level. So can Cole Palmer bounce back at just 22? Absolutely. Chelsea's long-term contract shows their faith in him. Yet rebuilding self-trust won't happen overnight. Palmer's challenging season is a stark reminder that potential does not guarantee success. He must rise again, because another season like this could reshape his entire career trajectory. Number 4 is Dusan Vlahovic. His teammate Douglas Luiz was also in contention for this spot, but since it's his first season at trajectory, number Juventus, he gets a pass. For now. So instead, let's focus on Vlahovic. Even UEFA fans who once believed he would lead their attack for years are now ready to move on. Last season, he looked like he was finally able to break through a real number believed he would lead their attack for years, are number 9 with power, movement, and goals. But in season 24 to 25, that promise has collapsed. In 38 games, he managed 14 goals and 5 assists. Not awful, you would say, until you realize that 13 out of those goals came before February. Since then, it's just 1 goal in last 15 Serie A matches. So what happened? First, it's tactics. Under Thiago Motta's rigid 4-2-3-1, Vlahovic was often isolated. Then came Randall Colombo, one in January, who scored 3 goals in his first 2 games. Suddenly, Vlahovic was shifted wide or on the bench entirely. For the recent base striker, that's a complete nightmare. Things did not improve under new coach Igor Tudor. On the bench entirely. The system changed, but his role did not. He looked disconnected from the attack, lacking sharpness, and Tudor did not seem fully convinced, often going for more mobile options. Then came the injury setback, the muscle problem just before the Champions League clash with Aston Villa. Not a major, but enough to break his momentum once again. And, of course, the confidence crash. Vlahovic has always played with emotions, sometimes too much. After frustrating draw with Venezia, he clashed with fans. Club legend like Del Piero commented that he is in the shadows, while Di Canio called for him to show his pride and fight for the minutes. And yet he is only 25 years old. The road tools are there. If he finds a team that suits him better, or Juventus rebuild the system that usually suits him and gives him real belief, he could turn things around. But right now, the season feels like a major step to build the system that usually suits back, and unless something changes soon, Vlahovic risks fading into the what could have been category. Suddenly, Vlahovic was shifted wide or on the bench entirely. For the recent base striker, that's a complete nightmare. Things did not improve under new coach Igor Tudor. The system changed, but his role did not. He looked disconnected from the attack, lacking sharpness, and coach Igor Tudor. The system changed, did not seem fully convinced, often going for more mobile options. Then came the injury setback, the muscle problem just before the Champions League clash with Aston Villa. Not a major, but enough to break his momentum once again. And of course, the confidence crash. Vlahovic has always played with emotions, sometimes too much. After frustrating draw with Venezia, he clashed with fans. Club legend like Del Piero commented that he is in the shadows, while Di Canio called for him to show his pride and fight for the minutes. And yet he is only 25 years old. The road tools are there. If he finds a team that suits him better, or Juventus rebuild the system that usually suits and yet he is him and gives him real belief, he could turn things around. But right now, the season feels like a major step back, and unless something changes soon, Vlahovic risks fading into the what could have been category. Cole Palmer's reality check. Front spot goes to Teo Hernandez, a player who just a year ago was hailed as one of the best fullbacks in the entire world. In season 23 to 24, he was unstoppable, explosive down the left wing, combining raw pace and power. 23 to 24, he was unstoppable with a constant attacking threat. He helped Milan to a top-4 finish, starred in Europe, and played a key role for France. It looked like Teo was in with a constant attacking during his prime. But going forward to season 24 to 25, he's been toothless. The left side, once Milan's biggest weapon, has become a liability. So what changed? Burnout is a part of the story. Teo played back-to-back seasons with no breaks, capped off with Euro 2024. France manager Didier Deschamps even said that Teo had been playing at a full throttle for way too long. Deschamps even said that Teo had been playing at a full throttle for way too long. Without rest, he could lose his edge. Then came the coaching changes at Milan. Under Fonseca, Teo was pushed into a more conservative role. Less freedom and more structure, and it killed his natural game. The once little overlapping runs were gone, and when he did, and it killed his natural game. The once little overlapping runs were gone, and when he pushed forward, he looked hesitant, caught between orders and instincts. Tension between him and coach boiled over. In a match against Lazio, Teo and Leao refused to join teammates during a cooling break, reportedly protesting Fonseca's tactics. Just a week later against Fiorentina, Teo took a penalty without being an assigned taker, and missed it and then got sent off for decent. That led to a 2-match suspension and eventually a spot on the bench. And without being in came Champions League disaster. In a do-or-die playoff against Feyenoord, Teo picked up a yellow card for diving, leaving Milan with 10 men. They crashed out, and while Sergio Conceição took the blame publicly, the criticism around Teo only intensified. Off the pitch, things have not been quite either. Transfer rumors have swirled all season, with PSG and Manchester City both showing interest. His future at Milan now looks uncertain. Whether it's his mindset, his role at Milan, or even a fresh start elsewhere, Teo still has tools to return to the very top. But the main question is if he will use them. Silver goes to Kyle Walker. And what a dramatic shift we have witnessed this season. Walker's collapse is genuinely difficult to watch. Last year, Walker was Guardiola's defensive ace, confidently handling some of the most dangerous attackers on the planet. Fans vividly remember his standout battles against world-class wingers like Mbappe and Vinicius Jr., some of the most constantly neutralizing threats with unmatched pace and strength. But now Walker looks barely recognizable, as though age caught up overnight, stripping away his speed and sharpness. The cracks started appearing early. City's aggressive, high line ruthlessly exposed Walker's loss of face and weakened positional awareness. The defender, previously a symbol of consistency, swiftly became a point of vulnerability. The numbers clearly illustrate Walker's alarming downturn. He featured consistency, swiftly became in just 15 Premier League matches, starting only 9, with PSG and Manchester City both showing interest. His future at Milan now looks uncertain. Whether it's his mindset, his role at Milan, or even a fresh start elsewhere, Teo still has tools to return to the very top. But the main question is if he will use them. Silver goes to Kyle Walker. And what a dramatic shift we have witnessed this season. Walker's collapse is genuinely difficult to watch. Last year, Walker was Guardiola's defensive ace, confidently handling some of the most dangerous attackers on the planet. Fans vividly remember his standout battles against world-class wingers like Mbappe and Vinicius Jr., constantly neutralizing threats with unmatched pace and strength. But now Walker looks barely recognizable, as though age caught up overnight, stripping away his speed and sharpness. The cracks started appearing early. City's aggressive high line ruthlessly exposed overnight, stripping away Walker's loss of face and weakened positional awareness. The defender, previously a symbol of consistency, swiftly became a point of vulnerability. The numbers clearly illustrate Walker's alarming downturn. He featured in just 15 Premier League matches, starting only 9. Dusan Vlahovic's fall from grace, and playing fewer than 1,000 minutes. His defensive stats suffered drastically, allowing more dribbles past him per game than at any point of his career. Once a dynamic force, had become a shadow on the pitch, invisible, ineffective, and uninspiring. Injuries compounded Walker's troubles. A knee injury in October provided Guardiola justification to bench him, but quickly became apparent. His struggles extend beyond physical issues. Pundits, notably Roy Keane, bluntly addressed Walker's decline, stating that mentally he looks checked out and physically he looks like he lost his edge. Behind closed doors, Guardiola that mentally he looks checked out and physically he looks like he lost his trust in Walker visibly crumbled. Pep openly expressed dissatisfaction, revealing Walker's desire to explore more options. His loan move to AC Milan in January underlined Guardiola's firm belief: if you're not mentally committed, you're not playing. Even the fresh-started Milan fails to reignite Walker's form, averaging just 6.9 rating per game. His performances remained underwhelming despite his evident leadership qualities. Players who heavily rely on physical attributes, particularly defenders known for pace, often fade rapidly as they age. Players who age, and unfortunately, seems to have reached this tipping point. This season likely marks the end of Kyle Walker as an elite-level defender. And finally, the most disappointing player this season is sadly Phil Foden. We could have included more Manchester City players, defender, and especially from midfield, but the one we expected the most was Foden. After an incredible 23-24 campaign, crowned by a Premier League Player of the Season award and an impressive 11th place finish in the Ballon d'Or rankings, expectations soared to new highs. At the start of the season, especially with key players like Rodri and De Bruyne as sidelined due to injuries, all eyes turned to Foden. Many believe that was the perfect moment for him to emerge as Manchester City's undisputed leader. All eyes turned to Foden. Many believe, but instead Foden's and City's overall performances dramatically dropped off. Right from the beginning, Foden looked like a shadow, but instead Foden's and City's overall performances of himself. As of recording this video, he scored just 7 goals with only 2 assists in 25 Premier League appearances, a significant fall-off from his combined 27-goal contribution season last year. Shockingly, the league's former standout took an astonishing 12 games to score his first goal, prompting fans to mockingly track how many days and how many hours he's gone without scoring. Foden's entire gameplay has regressed, and how many hours he's gone without scoring. Foden's entire gameplay has regressed and has. Reports from within Manchester City reveal his teammates' genuine concerns about his physical state, describing him as noticeably underweight. Clearly, struggles extend beyond the pitch. England's manager Thomas Tuchel has openly recognized Foden's struggles, noting he is simply not finding momentum. The drop-off in his metrics is struggles, noting he is simply not finding momentum. The drop-off in his assists per match have halved. Many believe that was the perfect moment for him to emerge as Manchester City's undisputed leader, but instead Foden's and City's overall performances dramatically dropped off. Right from the beginning, Foden looked like a shadow of himself. As of recording this video, he scored just 7 goals with only 2 assists in 25 Premier League appearances, a significant fall-off from his combined 27-goal contribution season last year. Shockingly, the league's former standout took an astonishing 12 games to score his first goal, prompting fans to mockingly track how many days and how many hours he's gone without scoring. Foden's entire gameplay has regressed. Reports from within Manchester City reveal his teammates' genuine concerns about his physical state, describing him as noticeably underweight. Clearly, struggles and beyond the pitch. England's manager Thomas Tuchel has openly recognized Foden's struggles, noting he is simply not finding momentum. The drop-off in his metrics is startling. His assists per match have halved. Theo Hernandez's burnout, while his off-shot targets increased by 60%. Dribbling, once a trademark skill, has declined sharply. Attempts have nearly halved, and successful dribbles are now down by almost 3 times with 14% lower success rate. Even defensively, where he wasn't particularly strong before, he's worsened with fewer tackles, blocks, and clearances. It's almost as if Foden has been replaced by an entirely average player. With this challenging season now effectively over for Manchester City, all eyes will be on Foden's next tier. Was his incredible 24 campaign just a pick he will never replicate? Or can he rediscover the magic that once made him one of the football's brightest stars? Only the time will tell. So there you have it, 8 players who came into season 24-25 with sky-high expectations, and by the end of the season with more questions than answers. Some are young and still have time to bounce back, while others they might be running out of chances. Who do you think was biggest disappointment in season 24-25? Drop your thoughts in the comments down below, and let's get the others they might be running going. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. While his off-shot targets increased by 60%, dribbling, once a trademark skill, has declined sharply. Attempts have nearly halved, and successful dribbles are now down by almost 3 times with 14% a lower success rate. Even defensively, where he wasn't particularly strong before, he's worsened with fewer tackles, blocks, and clearances. It's almost as if Foden has been replaced by an entirely average player. With this challenging season now effectively over for Manchester City, all eyes will be on Foden's next tier. Was his incredible 24 campaign just a pick he will never replicate? Or can he rediscover the magic that once made him one of the football's brightest stars? Drop your thoughts in the comments down below, and let's get the debate going. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Football's brightest stars.